It's fine. It's fine. Um, all right. The vibe of today's stream is probably gonna be a little down because uh I'm gonna be talking about everything that happened over the last 2 weeks and why I have just experienced what can very much could be considered the worst days of my life. So I'm gonna go through everything that's kind of like more recent and a lot of the stuff that isn't super sad. So number one, I've had some people ask me if they could support me financially at this time. And while I am very grateful, and I'm not like gonna turn off donations or whatever, uh, I'm more than financially stable right now. Um, I have had several family members offer me some help, and I've also going to be receiving very large sums of money. So I know people wanted to support me. Just know that for the fact that I'm fine for the most part in that category. Man, I have some stories to tell about that because god fucking damn it. Um so uh I guess I should just kind of come out with it. Uh Originally I was only supposed to be gone for a week and I was instead gone for 2. The reason I was gone in the first place was because at the time I had originally planned to visit my grandmother who was sick at the time. Uh, I was well aware that she was very sick. She was fucking 94, dude. She was very old. She had a very long life. Yeah, so I was very well aware that this was most likely going to be the last time my ZZZ drop store is still on. Am I even on ZZZ? Oh shit, well, whatever. It's fine. I'll fix that later. Yeah, I was going into this. Jesus Christ, guys. Whatever. I'm not gonna bother turning them off now. Thank you for the primary sub, BZ. So, yeah. I was well aware that this was most likely going to be the last time I would get to see my grandmother. And, I was right. I visited my grandmother on the Sunday like the Sunday after I showed up. I took the flight on Saturday and I got there Saturday night, and then the very next day I went and saw her at the hospital. Okay. So yeah. Uh I'm not even setting these sub goals. Twitch is setting them and I don't know why. Yeah, so I think it was Tuesday.
Easy.
Jesus. Tuesday, September 20, not September, October 29th. My grandmother passed away at night. And obviously, I was very sad about that. Uh Fun story there, but that story's not going to make sense until I explain this next bit. So, for the entire week that I was like prepping for the trip, I was finding it weird that my mom hadn't called me at all and we didn't talk. Even on the day that I was supposed to fly out, my mom didn't call me. And I thought that was a little weird, but I just was like, okay, she's probably busy with my grandmother and all that. So when I got there, I tried calling her again. She wasn't picking up, so my immediate thought was, oh my god, she forgot I'm visiting today. Which I wouldn't put it past her. Uh, but no, my uncle and my cousin showed up to pick me up, and they had informed me that they had taken my mom to the hospital because she was randomly fainting. Uh, yeah, so I had no idea that she wasn't like well or anything. I was not in, I had no prior knowledge. Like I said, we hadn't talked for that entire week. So I had also saw my mom on the same day that I saw my grandmother, and that was probably, man, it was probably at that point in time, it was definitely one of the worst days in my life, obviously. But at that, it's also probably one of the scariest because I haven't seen her physically in what is like almost a year and a almost 2 years, and the first time I see her again, she's very sick in a hospital bed. And the scariest thing about it was that she had like what I'm realizing now was probably a mini heart attack right in front of me. And that shit's scary. Like you don't know what's happening, and fuck, it's just a lot. Um, so my grandmother passes away, and the reason we didn't even find out about it was because the person who was her emergency contact was my mother, and she was in the hospital and her phone wasn't on, which probably was a good thing because I don't think my mom would have been able to like really deal with the situation at the time because she was obviously also in the same hospital, just on a different floor. So when we came to visit that hospital that morning because the doctor wanted to speak to us, uh, we found out only because we had like a family member working there. If she wasn't working there, we probably wouldn't not have found out until much later. So yeah, we found out about that, and we decided, okay, we can't really tell mom about this until she's out of the hospital. And then the very next day, she had also passed away. Uh, Apparently that like I don't know if it was night or morning, she had a massive heart attack while I was what I don't know. I I didn't hear. I don't know much about the details of the situation. I was just kind of shocked because like I saw her the day before. Like she looked much better than I did than when I saw her on Sunday. Yeah, the hype emotes are weird. Yeah, she looked so much better than like when I saw her on Monday or Sunday. And you know, I just what the fuck is this song? I'm gonna change this. Give me a second. Yeah. Uh, I don't know, man. It was obviously shocking, and I think even to this day, even though I was at the fucking funeral, uh, there's a part of me that still doesn't like register the fact that you know my mom is not here anymore. There, like it's something I've thought about in the past, and the idea that someday my mom's not going to be there for me anymore, obviously. But even if you think about it, you don't really realize the impact it's going to have. And I think that's the part of me that isn't like quite caught up to reality yet. And I think that's also the reason I haven't really cried too much. Like obviously I cried. Of course I fucking cried. I'm a big baby. But there's like that part in my brain that's like, okay, well maybe this is all a jip. this is all a joke. None of this is real. You're gonna wake up one day and your mom's gonna be there. And even when I was at the end of the at the end of the funeral, when I'm standing there looking at her body, like my brain is like actively telling me like she's gonna like it. Look at her. She's gonna open her eyes any second. She's just taking a nap. But no, that's not how that works. That's that's not how that works. That's not. I mean, she's sleeping. She is sleeping. It's just not a sleep that you typically wake up from, and that's something that's really hard to wrap my head around because I've. It's not like I've never had people important to me die before. Like very obviously, I've been to many a funeral. I literally watched my grandfather die in front of me. That's an entire other story that I've realized I've never told on stream. Yeah, I mean, I've like seen. I am intimately aware of the effects of death. Let's put it that way. Uh, but this is when it's somebody super super important to you that you has essentially been there for your entire life, who's been supporting you from day one, who's always been in your corner. It's not like you can just readily accept the fact that like they're gone, especially just so suddenly. Because like as far as anyone knew, she didn't really talk about being sick. We knew she was tired all the time, but there were a plethora of reasons she could have been tired. But yeah, that's kind of been the whammy of the last week. So I get on a plane, which is already a very very stressful thing. I think flying in the air. I'm not like somebody who's scared of like planes or anything. I like being on planes most of the time. Except my last plane ride. Fucking god, I have to talk about that as well. Yeah, I go from a very tiring day getting off a plane to immediately finding out my mom's in the hospital, visiting both of my family members in the hospital, uh speaking to a doctor who intimately like informs me of the fact that it's very likely that your mom could die. And even when someone tells you that, you're like, she can fight through this. This is a very strong person. And then nope. Like I lose my grandmother one day and then the very next day I lose my mom. Yeah, I mean, if you got parents, talk to them. Like fuck, man. That like you never know. Tell them you love them. Because like I at least got the chance to talk to my mom and like you know be there for her for a bit. I didn't get the chance to talk to my grandmother because when I visited her, she was sleeping. But you know, I at least got the chance to see her. It's I'm fine. Don't like worry about me mentally. This is a thing that I'm going to sort out. I wouldn't particularly worry about me all that much in this scenario. I can deal. I've been dealing with it. Yeah, it's for now I'm fine. I'm getting my situation sorted and I'm dealing with all of like the insurance and stuff and man that is a journey. Honestly, it's just been like I don't know if I'm just distracting myself or whatever, but it's working, so I'm gonna keep doing it. So yeah, that's so the big takeaways here are talk to your parents, tell them you love them. Don't worry about my financials. As a matter of fact, I'm doing great. Like I'm doing great. I have money, so don't think that you need to donate or anything. That's the big takeaway here. I did initially worry a bit about funding because oh god, why did I do that? Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, no one's fine. No one is fine. Yeah, I was worried a little bit about my money, my financial situation, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? No, I'm fine actually. No, I mean if you want to donate, I'm not gonna like tell you no. Just think about the fact. Don't do it just because you're like, oh, I want to make your life easier. My life is easy. Like I'm ghosting